Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Huck and LiquidTLO here on Lost Temple. Here we have TLO spawning as, I guess this is a teal or light blue Zerg player over here. Meanwhile, we have Huck spawning as the green Protoss, so it's going to be green versus blue here on Lost Temple. The very first game was on Metalopolis. I believe this is out of a best of 5 series. Won't be able to cast all the games. I'm not even sure about the number of these games. Anyways, back over here, hopefully TLO will go ahead and show that extractor trick, because I've been getting a lot of questions on what exactly the extractor trick is. So taking a look at this, you're going to see a drone being produced here, and then right when TLO perhaps, getting a little bit caught up there, going to go ahead and drop down an extractor, and then produce an additional drone, drop down another extractor, produce another drone, and then cancel both of these. So now you have 12 food over 10. That's how Zerg is able to get additional drones and additional harvesters a little bit more quickly. So TLO sitting on 12 harvesters, and you're going to see this income increase just a little bit more. And now going to go ahead and drop down that spawning pool, perhaps try to go for another extractor trick in just a moment. We'll see if he tries to go into 12 or not. I believe he did that in that game on Metalopolis. No. Now Overlord moving around here. We have a probe coming in as a scout, and now we should be training once an Overlord in order to be able to not be supply locked continually. So sitting at 12 over 10, in comes Peppy the probe, Huck's little probe coming around. You may try for an extractor block. No, not going for any extractor blocks. Getting just a little bit of action, trying to zap that one hatchery, but the hatcheries have an armor of 1, and that probe with that slow attack speed and only 5 damage from that particle beam, not going to be able to deal that much damage. Drone now from TLO moving on out, even though the animation shows him trying to cut through some of those minerals, there are no minerals in the mouth of that one drone. Back over here, we have a forge front door opening from Huck. So Huck opening with a more defensive play instead of a gateway. So we'll see how this is going to work out, and units will be forced to try to run along this side over here. I would have suspected a second photon cannon to be placed down already. We already have an Overlord now moving on in, so we are probably going to be seeing some sort of an additional unit. Yeah, Zergling's now moving on out, and that probe, I don't know how that's really going to happen and what that's really going to work now. Now down comes a Nexus, and those Zerglings are maybe able to do a straight run by into this mineral line of Huck, and that's going to be really, really bad news. More photon cannons need to be placed down. I'm not sure exactly what Huck is thinking, as those Zerglings are now going to be running on in. And the second gateway, oh wow, perfectly timed placing of a gateway. So Huck placing down a gateway, making it so that those Zerglings really need to come in single file to come on in. So 1 Zergling down, 2 Zerglings down, 3 Zerglings down, and now only 2 Zerglings left. All of those probes coming off that mineral line should be able to just make short work of those Zerglings. Those Zerglings, however, doing their job, making it so that those probes coming off that mineral line should be able to get off 1 or 2 hits, and now being forced to pull away those 2 Zerglings. Oh, now probes coming off, and now another Zergling getting zapped down into half-life. So TLO using these Zerglings, trying to micro these units, and yeah, just microing these units back and forth, perhaps able to get 1 or 2 probe kills, or at least just try to slow down that harvesting. Yeah, so Huck's at 600 or 580 as opposed to TLO's 760. But one thing to note is that TLO does not have any units on gas yet. So now 2 Zerglings coming in, both those units, both those Zerglings very, very low on hit points. Back over here, finally getting gas up and running, and now, so that means no metabolic boost, now 1 queen being produced, as those Zerglings still running around inside that base, just wreaking a little bit of havoc, or at least trying to. Cybernetics core coming in. This may be an opening into perhaps a fast gateway, or fast Stargate once again. Another pylon being placed down, only one pathway to really come in through this front door. And I think that those Zerglings could have come in through this side and then perhaps do a run by around all of these minerals, and then he would have had more Zerglings in this base. TLO still getting plenty of sight, plenty of scouting on all of these units. Now coming in, probes coming in and doing their work, zapping and taking down those that Zergling threat, and those Zerglings are now gone. TLO needs to change the strategy a little bit more, and already Protoss weapons upgrade. Wow, so with the weapons upgrade, those Zealots will be able to cut through those Zerglings much more easily. Taking a look at the units, we have 13 Zerglings and 3 Queens, and now those Queens are going to be using that spawn the creep tumor ability to try to spread out this creep, and those creep tumors really enable very, very fast hydrolist play. And wow, 4 creep tumors now being moved out in and right next to each other. One creep tumor I do not believe affects the speed of another creep tumor, so not sure why TLO is wanting to use this. Perhaps one day I will speak to TLO and he will let me know. Zerglings taking down these destructible rocks over here, and then we'll be able to deploy units out very, very quickly. It looks like the Queen now continuing to just push down more and more creep tumors. So these creep tumors are going to be spreading out very, very easily across this map, and now that is just spreading faster than cancer. And yeah, sorry to anyone with who's lost anyone to cancer. Sorry, bad joke. Sorry. Okay, lost my train of thought. Anyways, back over here, we have a couple creep tumors now moving on out. These creep tumors will enable these Zerglings to just push through and really be able to get a quick surround all over the place. This Queen activating this Zelnaga watchtower, that's not something I see every day. And already looking at the harvester count, both players sitting on playing Sim City, just macroing up very, very quickly. We have an infestation pit and another evolution chamber coming into play. We already have a Phoenix being produced as well. So it's going to be Zerglings and Infestors. Are we going to tier 3? We may see some Ultralists. I want to see some Ultralists. A rush to Ultralists would be very, very funny. Just something I'd be interested in seeing. Now Zerglings moving on out. A Queen now pushing, a Phoenix now trying to do a little bit of scouting. There is one Queen, and that Phoenix flying around sideways, able to push and deal damage. I would like to see a second or perhaps even a third Phoenix pushing on in. Spore Crawler being placed in, and yeah, that Phoenix is able to move around backwards and be able to push out that damage. Spine Crawlers now moving in. Those Overlords have that speed upgrade, so those Phoenixes will not be able to push in nearly as easily as this Phoenix is now coming back home to do some regrouping. Back over here, Twilight Council now being placed down. So are we going to get Zealot Charge, or are we going for actually for Templars or even Dark Templars? Zerglings now going to be coming in. Those Zealots, however, have that weapons upgrade, should be able to take down those units fairly easily as another Phoenix being produced. I don't quite, perhaps Huck is expecting a lot of Mutalisk play. I don't know too much about TLO's Zerg play, as I normally watch him play a lot of Zerg and Protoss games. Army-wise, both players sitting fairly even, the same amount of gas. Also 1,075 minerals versus 1150. Yeah, that spiral was not there. That's just one of those animation issues during the replays. It doesn't show the wireframe, it actually shows the actual building, and it looks like it's really sitting there. We may get a little bit of a Spine Crawler rush now. So Spine Crawlers do take longer to root than before. Spine Crawlers taking, I believe, Phoenix is now coming in, perhaps trying to take down that last Overlord down to 40, or that one Overlord down to 41 hit points. I believe that the Phoenixes could have Graviton beamed the Queen, and then using the Graviton beam and making it so that the Queen couldn't do any attacking. The rest of the Phoenixes could have taken it down, and that would have been fairly decent play. However, the Infestor now getting fungal growth still needs to research Neuroparasite, I believe, but 3 Infestors in play, and those Infestors should be able to fungal growth and stop those Phoenixes in their tracks. I'm not sure if the fungal growth stops the building or stops the channeling ability, and that's one of those things I should ask, or once I've seen it I will remember and keep track of it. Army-wise, we already have Huck sitting at 114. Zergling is now going to perhaps try to do a run by, and now nice fungal growth coming in. Zealots just sitting there taking that damage. However, those shields are just going to be taking that, and another fungal growth coming in as well. So Zealots now coming in, and now nice force fields being brought into position, making it difficult for those Zerglings to really do any head-on engagement there. Really, those Phoenixes perhaps should be accompanied by 1 or 2 Void Rays to focus down those Queens. Zealots now being produced down even further, and now perhaps some Photon Cannons will be warped in. So looking at this, Huck already has a little bit of an advantage, was able to macro up a very, very powerful and very, very strong army, and now in comes the Infestor. Infestor may try to do another fungal growth. No fungal growth, but so many Spore Crawlers across the rest of the map, making it so that it's very difficult to stop all of to stop all of these creep tumors. Unless an observer is built, observers should be should be built momentarily, as observers and as I'm assuming more Zerg players will be trying to use more and more burrow play later on throughout the StarCraft 2. Perhaps even during the initial release, we'll see more burrow play coming in from Zerg. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between Huck and TLO here on Lost Temple.